Okay. Today we are back again discussing books. Yes, not a commentary, guys. I'm having fun discussing books. And today I'm going to give you guys a bit of insight into exactly what I'm reading. And it's a lot. Like from my last video, I told you guys that I am a multi-reader and a mood reader, so it depends on my mood what I'm reading, but I'm also the type of person to be reading at least 5 books at once. That's not a joke, okay? Where I get with those 5 books, we don't know, but I have to be reading multiple books at one time. It's just how I am, because depending on my mood, I will read a full book in a day, or I will read 2 chapters and pick up 3 others, okay? So it is what it is. So I'm actually reading quite a lot of books. Now, the thing with me is I'm not really a DNFer, not permanently. I will DNF a book temporarily, but I will pick it up eventually, okay? There are some books that have been on the DNF list for, 2 years, and then I picked it up, and then I finished it all in one night. Like, that's just how I work. There are some books that are there for like a week, and I come right back to it, and I finish it. Like I said, because I'm a mood reader, it's really, really hard to be consistent or to really kind of like have something set when it comes to reading. I really have to have a reason to read. Like it's a collaboration. It's a book club pick. It has to be one of those. But yeah, so right now I have quite a lot of books that I'm reading. Now, most of these books are books that were, started in February that I didn't complete. I told you guys that I had picked out like 11 books. I didn't finish it. Yeah, a lot of these books are from that list, but some of them are also books that I kind of picked up along the way. And let's see if I have any more luck in March. Now, with this video, I'm currently recording this at the beginning of March. When I post this, who knows how many of these books will have been completed. So, yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on what it is. But as of, March 1st, these are the books that I'm currently reading and kind of like where I'm at, how I'm finding them so far, and la-di-da-di-da. Let's start. We're going to start strong. Yes. It's Assassin's Apprentice by Hobb. Now, you guys know one of my goals for this year is to finally get into high fantasy, epic fantasy. And I had a whole poll on the BookTube community, and I asked you guys to help me pick what my first book should have been. And the choices were Aragon, the Mistborn trilogy, and the Farseer trilogy. And the Farseer trilogy won, which is really surprising because I really did think the Mistborn trilogy would have won, but I'm actually really happy that the Farseer trilogy won. So the first book in the trilogy is Assassin's Apprentice by Hobb. And oh my gosh! So I don't know if you guys saw my last video with the books that I read in February, but one of the books that I read in February was Apprentice to the Villain. I've never seen books be so opposite to one another. As I spoke about Apprentice to the Villain, it was literally about how, like, it is a book based on vibes. The plot is weak. The story is weak. Basically kind of like non-existent. And then here, the plot, whoa, so well developed. The story, oh my goodness. Like, I consider writing an art. And this artistry, oh, like I've heard people like gush over Hobb's before, but I didn't expect it. Guys, from the very first page, she pulls you in, which is absolutely amazing. But it's not that. It's the way that she takes her time to build the world and build the characters in that world. It's the way that she takes her time to actually set the scene in every scene. It's the way that she takes her time actually like setting, planting these little seeds and putting every stone in place so that we can get to where we need to get. Guys, at this moment, I'm only like, I think maybe 35% in. And that's what I'm seeing in this book. And it's not just that. Her writing style as well. Her writing style, I think, is really, really, like, it's descriptive without being overly descriptive. You guys know I have a thing with like authors who can be like overly descriptive and it kind of just comes off as being pretentious. But no, it's more so like, with every single scene, I can envision where we are. I can see where we are. I can see how we're moving. I can see how people are looking. I can see the emotions playing on people's faces. But more than that, what I really, really love about this is the fact that the plot so far is very well developed. And the story, it's building up to something like great. But like, it's not giving away anything. And I really, really love that because like there are some books that I basically figure out the entire book by this point in time, by 30% in. But obviously, I'll still be interested and I'll get to the end. with this, I'm like 35% in, and I'm just like, I don't know what we're building up to, you know? There are different layers to it as well that I can see, but yet I cannot yet figure out. Like, the different layers are being built before my very eyes as I'm reading. Like, this book is, I can already tell it's going to be a masterpiece. And it's so funny because, like, it's only the first book. And apparently, the Farseer trilogy is part of a wider universe, and that's what I like about, like, you know, what I like from what I've been seeing about epic and, you know, just big fantasy, is the fact that they have wider worlds. Yes, they'll have trilogies, duologies, but they all kind of fit in like this wider world, essentially like the Grishaverse. And it's just, her writing is absolutely amazing. I'm so upset that no one put me on this before. I know everyone obviously has been gushing over Robin Hobb for ages, and it's kind of on me, the fact that I wasn't reading high fantasy. But, you know, I was really just getting into reading. Like, don't blame me. But yeah, so if you are a fantasy lover and you haven't read Robin Hobb's, or, you know, you haven't gotten into epic fantasy, I'm just starting and I can tell the difference is huge. Yes, I've read epic fantasy books, but, like, I want to be into epic fantasy, if you get what I'm saying. So this, yeah. So I'm not even through, and I'm telling you now, I already know I'm booking it a 5-star. Like, don't even mess with me. I already know it's going to be a 5-star. End of discussion. There's nothing to play. Now, before I continue, I do want to say that I'm going to be presenting these books to you in order of how I think I'm going to finish, or when I think I'm going to finish them. So I definitely think that it's probably going to be one of the first books I finish in March, because I'm definitely going to finish it in March. I definitely know. And because I'm like 35% in, I'm just like, yeah, you know, I already have my foundations. There's already movement. I already know I'm definitely going to finish it. So yeah, I'm presenting the books to you in order of, like, one, my interest, how great the book is, and, like, how early I think I'm going to finish it. That being said, the next book is The Red Palace by June Hur. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, please forgive me. June Hur? Yeah, June Hur. I'll just put the name down anyway. But basically, I remember this book has been on my list for ages. And I remember one of the reasons why is because I remember the author described it as being like, you know, she's a big fan of K-dramas, and basically her books, like, not just this, but all of her books are basically K-dramas written down. And I'm just like, yeah, you've kind of sold me. Like, the thing is, K-dramas are so funny because K-dramas have the most intricate plots, and they have 85 different stories in that one show. And every time you think you've solved something, or every time something has been resolved, they present another problem. And so in my head, I was just like, oh, you have to stress me out. But then I looked at the book, and I'm just like, the book is like, it's fairly short. So I'm just like, okay, maybe you're not as convoluted as a K-drama, but you have, like, the same vibes. And it is true, you know, it is set in the same time. I can't remember which period this is set in, sometime around the 1800s in Korea. And basically, it is set in a palace, and essentially we have the regular, you know, class divides that we normally see in a lot of K-dramas set in, I do believe it is in the Joseon period. But basically, we see the same class divides. And Hyun, our FMC, she basically, you know, she works as a nurse in the palace, and she's a bastard, and that's, like, you know, a plot point, because it makes a part of her character, like, you know, why she's motivated to do the things that she's motivated to do, and the position that she's in. So essentially, she's a bastard, and her father is, like, a high up marshal. I believe he's in, like, you know, the police force or whatnot, but he's a high up marshal. But basically, not only is she a bastard, but she's a girl. So if she was a bastard and a boy, she might have had more attention from her father. But because she's a girl, basically ignored. Like, he doesn't acknowledge her, so she doesn't get a last name. There's just a lot of, you know, not the happiest backstory. But basically, one night, she finds herself in the palace, and that same night, 4 nurses, people who she trained with, so she even recognized them, like, she wasn't too close with them, but she knows them, they're found murdered, you know? And then, like, she gets onto the scene, and, like, she's just like, oh, and the person who's, like, she gets onto the scene, and she's just like, oh my goodness, it's horrendous, and she sneaks into the scene. She's not even meant to be there, and she almost gets caught, and if she didn't get caught, she would have been in a lot of trouble. But basically, the person who trained her, and, like, her mentor, essentially, is the one who is accused of doing the murders. So that person is under arrest right now, being interrogated. Like, she's saying it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, but then she can't prove why she was at the location that she was at. She wasn't at the murders, but then like she was out and about at night, which like isn't really normal. Like, it's allowed, but it's just not normal. And like you can tell that she's hiding something. And so Hyun, she's just like, I need to prove her innocence. I cannot have her die, because like she's the one who helped her, you know, pick herself up, you know, not remain in the gutter, encouraged her to be a nurse, helped her be a nurse. Like, you know, she's just like, I can't let my mentor die. And so she, you know, she's on for finding evidence to basically exonerate her mentor before they kill her. And then what's insane is that leaflets are now going around the city saying, the crown prince killed me, the crown prince killed me. And so now it's either the crown prince is, you know, the killer, or someone's trying to frame the crown prince. And if that's the case, why are they trying to frame the crown prince? And so she starts working with Yujin, who is, you know, she didn't know this at the time, but like he, you know, he has skin in the game, essentially. And they are basically working to find who the real killer is, especially one, before they kill any more people. I haven't gone too far in the book, so if they do kill more people, well, you know. And two, to, you know, exonerate her mentor. Now, I really do enjoy this so far. Actually, you know, I've gotten, I think, like 20% in the book. I really enjoy it so far. I think the plot, obviously, I think the plot is really good. I like the crime scene. And I like the divides in the classes. Not in the sense that I like how, you know, they're being treated differently. But I like how it's written, how it's told, how it's shown. One thing I will say, even with K-dramas, if it wasn't for their faces, I would really struggle, because like remembering their names is really hard. But because this is a book and I don't have any faces. Yes, there are descriptors, but I don't have any faces. And so I'm getting lost sometimes, okay? I'm just like, who is that again? So I'm actually really trying to read this really quickly, because if I let it go too quick, if I let it go too long and I don't finish it, I'll have to restart, because I will forget every name. Like, obviously, I remember Hyun and I remember Yujin, but that's about it. That's about it. You know, if she doesn't say things like, oh, you know, him from da-da-da-da, or, you know, my father, I'm gonna just beat her like, who? Obviously, there will be context clues, but without those context clues, I'll be finished. But I already have, like, my mounting suspicions based on, like, how the story started. I already have, like, my mounting suspicions on who the actual killer is, because I don't think it's the prince, but that's just me, guys, currently. Like I said, I'm 30% in. We don't know everything yet, but I got my suspicions. I got my suspects. I know what it is, you know? I know what it is. I know what to do. And when it comes to thrillers, I usually figure out the killer. I usually do, you know? By 50% in, I will know. I guarantee it. I'll let you guys know how it goes. But yeah, I think I really do enjoy it. I like the history behind everyone, and I like how the writing is told. So obviously, first person writing, and I have no beef with that. I actually really, really enjoy it. I like the setting as well. I like the way we go from one place to another. I like the relationships between the characters. I genuinely love how they're kind of setting everything up. Like I said, I have my suspicions, but at the same time, they're making it so it's not too easy to figure out. They're kind of like basically throwing a distraction in front of us. And so I feel like my suspicion might not even be right, but I have ideas. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm excited to see how far we go. Let's go. I'm going to try and go quicker because time. Okay. The next book is Till Death by Busayo Matuluko. Listen. Even though this is the third book up in the running, I've not started this book. I've read like the first page, right? But basically, this book has been going around on TikTok, and people who I trust have said that this book is good. I love a thriller, and this thriller is set in Lagos, and so I'm just like, oh, okay. So I'm just like, Nigerians, they come with the vibes, you know? So I just know I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to relate to it. I'm super excited. I've not read a book by Busayo. I don't know if this is her first book. I generally do not know. But I've heard good things. Basically, it's based at, in Lagos. There's a wedding. There's a murder at the wedding. We got to find out why. And apparently, it comes with the mess. Apparently, there's a lot of drama. And you know what? I'm down with it. I'm down with the mess. So, yes. I'm gonna get into this. I'm really excited to read this. I put it third because, I just have a feeling that's going to be, really fun to read. And if it's really fun and really engaging, I'll finish it in a day too. Like, I have a feeling it's going to be like that. So definitely, I feel like it's going to be like the third book I finish. Or, you know, around that number. Now, the next book... Okay. So the next book is King of Fools by Amanda Foody. This is actually the second book in a trilogy, in the Ace of Spades trilogy. Now, the reason why I'm so excited, but I'm also kind of just like, should I do better? So basically, yeah. I read the first book last year, around November, December time. And I've had the first book on my shelf for, I believe, like 3 years or so. And I just kept putting it off. I just picked the book because I'm really trying to focus on the books that I own on my TBR rather than get new books. This was an anomaly, okay? And Impossible Creatures was also an anomaly. Let it go. But yeah, I'm really focusing on the books that I own. I've been doing well with reading the books that I own to get my TBR really, really low. Well, the books that I own really low. I read the first book, and it was so good. So basically, it's about this young girl named N, and she's a proper lady. She was raised in high society, but she goes to the city of Sin to find her mother, who's been missing for, I believe, 11 days when she had visited the city. But basically, this is a fantasy book, and essentially, in this world, they had a revolution a few years ago, and a whole family was basically out the running because they were the rulers of the world, of that world, essentially. But apparently they ruled kind of like in a bad way, and so people kind of just like had a revolution and took them out. And this is really, really important because like part of the book is about like, people trying to stir up like a return to their support, and it's kind of just like bruh. But basically, Anne goes to the city of Sin to find her mother. And in this world, the way that the magic system works is that everyone has a talent, and your talent is based on the talent of your parents. So you can have a talent for dancing. Like, these talents are actually like, they're practical, and some of them are a bit more like, out there. But you can have a talent for dancing, for acrobatics, for dealing with money, I believe it was, or for creating volts, and volts is kind of like a currency here. I believe that, like, it's literally volts, like electricity. But basically, there are some powers that are obviously highly sought after, and so you're kind of like in the higher classes, and there are some powers that are so very, very common that you're just really a commoner. And the way that your powers are passed down to you is by your parents. So if both your parents have the same power, you're getting that power. There's no mutation. You're getting that power. Now, if one of your parents has this and one of your parents has another, one will be your major, one will be your minor, essentially. One will be the predominant, one will be like, the lesser. And I believe most people have like a predominant and a lesser. So even if your parents have a predominant for both, like, that's just going to be passed down. But basically, yeah. So I believe that she was a dancer. That was her talent. Like, and then like her minor talent was counting, something to do with like arithmetic, I think. Basically, yeah, that was her lesser talent, and she had no skill for it. Or like, yeah, something like that. But anyway, that was her father's talent, I believe. But her father's dead, or like nowhere to be found. At least that's what her mom said. And so she goes looking for her mom. She goes in the city of Sin. She's a proper lady now, so she don't got no street smarts, bro. She basically gets into trouble immediately. She meets this guy who her mom told her, if something ever happens to me, if I don't come back in a certain amount of days, like, I'm basically dead, go to this person. She goes to this person. His name is Levi. He's basically like one of the gang lords, like an up-and-coming gang lord in the area. She goes to him. He's just like, why do you know this lady? And then she's just like, that's my mom, adoptive mother. We find that out not too late into the game, but we found out a bit later. But yeah, another thing, her mom had taught her like these rules about how to survive. Never show your emotions, never do this, all that. So she meets Levi. Levi is in a bit of trouble because he did some really sketchy things to get some money for some people, and he promised them money, and he needs to get the money to them before a certain time, or they finna, yeah. And so he's just like, okay, she's a proper little girl, and you know what? I need the money. So if I help her, or if I tell her that I'm gonna help her, I'm gonna get the money. And so he starts helping her, and then it gets complicated. It gets complicated, and then by the end of the first book, all hell basically breaks loose, essentially. Yeah, for them anyway. And then we continue on in the second book. I've made it, I think, like 3 chapters in. And I finished that book, I believe, in like December or something. Now, the reason I've not made it far into the book is because I heard that the second book is where hell really breaks loose, where everything really goes like insane. And I'm scared. Like, guys, I'm a mood reader, and I'm not in the mood to be heartbroken, or I'm not in that mood yet. And so, but the thing is, when I tell you I fell in love with the first book, I did, because the first book reminds me so much of Six of Crows, because it is a heist book and there's a lot of stakes in the game. Like, it's really good, and the writing is so good. The magic system is a bit confusing. I'm still a bit confused with some of the things that happen in the magic system, especially the whole thing with votes and currency and stuff, as currency and stuff like that. But outside of that, I like it because it's kind of just like, it's not like high magic. It's not like, you know, you're thrusting fire at me and stuff like that. Like, people can do things like that. I believe like some people have like really interesting magical powers. But you know, for the most part, I get it. But yeah, some of it is a bit confusing. But yeah, I haven't continued because I'm a bit scared. But like, I'm really excited to actually get into it. And my mood is coming back to this book, if that makes sense, as a mood reader. It's coming back to this book. So I do believe that like, it won't be the first thing I read or like delve into in March, but it will be one of the first, because I'm really excited to get back into it and see how this second book ended. Okay. But yeah, I'm super excited to get into this. And like I said, like, the first book, oh my goodness, I read the first book and I was so upset because I'm just like, oh my goodness, I had this book on my shelf for years and I didn't get into the story. That's how good it was. As in, like, before I even finished the first book, I started hunting this down and I bought it. Like, you know, when you're getting to the end of a book and you just know you're not going to be able to hold out, and so you get the next book immediately. Like, that's what it was. So I'm really excited to get into this, because yeah, like, the stakes are higher now, and I'm really kind of scared. I kind of feel like not everyone's gonna make it, and I don't like that feeling. Yeah, which is one of the reasons why I kind of just like, I'm just gonna put you to the side for now. Okay. So the next book, and that is Escaping from Houdini by Kerry Maniscalco. This is the third book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. Now, Stalking Jack the Ripper, I also started last year. Stalking Jack the Ripper, this is really interesting. It's one of the books that I fell in love with. I'm really, really in love with the series. Now, it's one of those books where I really, really enjoy it, but like, I take my time with it, because like, it's one of the books that I started the intentional reading with, where I take my time. But the thing is, one of those books where I don't feel like forced to read. I'm like, I'm okay with like picking it up slowly and getting into the story, especially because the story always builds up around the halfway mark, or around like, 40% mark. And I'm just like, you know what, that's cool. Because when it does get to that point, that's when I start like, I finish that book in a night. But like, the beginnings of the book, like the first and the second book anyway, it usually starts really slow. And to be fair, that's most books. Not slow, but then like, it pulls you in, but like, the story moves at like it's a fair pace. Not too fast, but not too slow either. And basically, this one, so I know I'm going to finish this one when I really get into it. So I've read 2 chapters so far. I started reading it, I believe, in January, because I finished the first 2, I believe, in like November, December, or December alone. I can't remember exactly. But one thing I will say that happened in both the first 2 books, which made me give them about like 4 stars and not like 5 stars, is because the way that they end the books, so abrupt. Like, we're building up to like this insane showdown in both the first and the second book, and then the villain gets taken out in like 2 pages or so. Not 2 pages, but like, it just happens really, really quickly, and I'm just sat there like, all that build up. Now, see, with Impossible Creatures, I can let it go, because like, middle grade, and obviously it's for children. Like, this is a YA book, a YA book series. Do better. Now, one thing I will say, Escaping from Houdini, it started with a bang. Like, I remember when I read the first chapter, I was just like, okay, you're starting, like, you can tell the pace is going to be a bit quicker. But then, because of some events that happened in the first 2 books, and the dynamics of some of the characters have changed, I can tell that dynamic has now flowed into the 3rd book. And I'm not really caring to have relationship dynamic drama in the 3rd book. Like, sort it out within the first half. Like, because majority of the second book was them sorting out those dynamics. The first book was playful. We didn't really care about them dynamics. We cared about it, but we were okay with how it was moving. Second book, sort it out. And it was throughout the entire book that they were sorting it out. This book, I thought the dynamics were sorted. Why are you pulling this back in? Sort it out within the first 30%, please. That being said, I put it off for too long, and I'm actually really, I'm really excited to figure out where it goes from here. And I am kind of excited to see where the dynamics go from here. I just want them to figure it out soon, or it'll stress me out, okay? And kind of piss me off. So the thing is, with these two books, I feel like they will be interchanged. So I might finish this one before this one, but because this one is a bit shorter, I might finish it before. And also, I feel like this will stress me out less, because one thing I will say about all of the Stalking Jack the Ripper books is that each book comes to its own conclusion, in the sense that if I stopped at the first book, I would have been content. I would have known that something, you know, like there's more story to tell, but it could have ended on its own. Same thing with the second book. So I know that at the end of this book, there won't really be a cliffhanger. You know, I can end there. I know for a fact that this book ends on a cliffhanger. I know for a fact, 100%. So I'm just like, I might finish this book first. And I keep saying I might finish one book first or another. It's because, like I said, I multi-read and I mood read. So I'm going to just be jumping between books depending on my mood. So really, one book might surpass another. It's just how it goes. It's just how it is. Now, next book. This book is funny. The story behind this book is funny, at least. This book is The Christmas Murder Game by Alexandra Benedict. The reason why the story behind this book is funny is because I bought this book for Christmas, for the Christmas season, because I was buying a lot of Christmas books, and I wanted I was buying a lot of Christmas thrillers, and I wanted a thriller that fit the season, so I bought a lot of Christmas thrillers. So obviously, it should have been read in Christmas. It wasn't. But the thing is, I'm just like, I'm not just gonna wait for the next Christmas season to read it. Heck no. So like, it's here. It's not relevant to the season, but that doesn't matter. Like, what does that matter? I don't care. A book is a book is a book. Yeah, so, and the thing is, I started reading this book. I got, like, I believe 3 chapters in. And it's basically, like, this young girl, I don't remember her name. It's been that long since I picked it up. But this young girl, I remember what happened so far. She is basically, yeah, she has, like, a lot of issues because her mother died or was murdered. Like, it's not really clear, when she was young, and she basically ran away from the family. Her mother is from, like, an affluent family, and she basically ran away, as in, like, you know, she's estranged from them. She only spoke to her aunt, who basically took her in, and now her aunt has died, and her aunt basically set up, like, a game, like, you know, like a game, not a murder mystery, but a mystery game, and she invited the entire family to solve it. And she's just like, every single person has something to gain from winning this game, and if you win the game, you'll get what you want. And the thing that her aunt has, you know, waved in front of her eyes, even though her aunt is dead, obviously she sent a letter, is, you know, you'll find out what happened to your mother. And I'm just like, that already confused me, because like, if you knew, why didn't you tell me? Because it's been a mystery all these years. Like, I'm pretty sure it's an unsolved crime, or like a suspected suicide, something like that. And so in my head, I'm just like, what? If you knew, why didn't you tell me? Like, what's the game? I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So basically, she's invited the entire family, and so this is her first time. So for the young girl, this is the first time she's seeing a lot of her family and ages, a lot of her old friends. Like, it's, yeah. So it's kind of just like a, ooh, look who's back, type of issue. And the thing is, they always used to have these games around this season. She just stopped coming, obviously, because, you know, she distanced herself from the house. Like, she just couldn't be there anymore. So they kept having it. And her aunt always invited her to the games every year. She just never came. And so she always used to be the winner, apparently, because she was good at solving puzzles and clues. She was good at solving the riddles. And so it's going to be interesting, because there's a lot at stake, because the aunt did say everyone has something to gain. So in my head, I'm just like, what if the murderer is trying to now stop people from figuring out they're the murderer? Because I'm sure that the murderer is in the family somewhere. Like, I'm positive. I'm only 3 chapters in, but I'm just like, maybe the aunt didn't know who did it, but then she suspected and she has the clues, and she's counting on the daughter to figure out the clues, because obviously she was best with the clues. I do not know, because in my head I'm like, why did you just not tell me if you knew? Like, I just don't understand. But, you know, I'm hoping it'll make sense by the end. Now, I put this in this order because in my head I'm thinking, yeah, you know, after this I'll probably be in the mood for a thriller, and so this is a quick thriller. It's nice and short, and so I'll pick it up just to get it out of the way. And because I am actually intrigued as to what the heck, why are you not telling me who did it if you knew? So yeah, I do think this will be the next book I finish. And next, okay, so next is really, really funny. I really should have read this book ages ago. Please don't judge me. The next book is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Faridah, Abike-Iyimide. This book was given to me basically as an arc or a proof, essentially, of when this book was getting released. And I believe that was either 2024 or 2023, one of the two. I started it. I did. As a mood reader, I didn't continue. And it's not that the book was bad. And I was in I think this is when my reading slump hit me. When I said I started it, like, I got like a line in. I'm not even joking. So, I can't tell you what this book is about. Can't tell you the character names. Can't tell you a damn thing. Not a single damn thing. What I can tell you is that, one, the cover is beautiful. Several covers. Like I said, this was a proof, so very, very fancy, cute. Two, I've read Faridah's, other thriller, Ace of Spades, and that book was absolute genius. I'm pretty sure I've done a review video of that book. I fell in love. The thing with that book is, and this is one of the reasons why my mood wasn't on me for this book, because I'm pretty sure this book is meant to be about, like, boarding school and something happening in the boarding school. In Ace of Spades, that book was so eerie for a thriller. It was so, as in, like, I was just like, this is creepy. It was so good, but it was so eerie. And so, just from the cover of this book, you can tell it's going to be eerie as heck. Like, what the heck is that over her eye? What's going on? Where sleeping girls lie? It just gives me death. And it's a thriller, so obviously I know someone's going to die. But because of it, I put it off for ages, because I'm just like, absolutely not. I'm not in the mood for this. I'm not in the mood. So I kept putting it off. Even as I kept reading more thrillers, I'm just like, this is giving the eerie thriller of Ace of Spades again, and I'm not ready for that yet. So I put it off. But, like, I've just been staring at it, and I'm just like, I really want to read it. I love boarding school books. I like boarding school thrillers. I think are great, because I'm just like, you people are just messy in a boarding school. They're always so much interesting, like, relationship dynamics and drama that goes within a boarding school, especially private boarding schools. And I'm just like, I don't know if race is gonna play a factor, because obviously the main character is black. So I'm just like, is race gonna play a factor? And I'm just like, let me hear, because in Ace of Spades, race did play a factor. So I want to know, and I'm like, how is it gonna play a factor if it does play a factor? And so I want to see what's up, because it says secrets haunt these hollowed halls. So, a school with history. Yeah, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be absolutely chaotic, and I'm excited for it. So, I do not think I'll pick it up first, because I am still, like, I'm still not in the vibe for it yet. But if I read, like, a few more thrillers, I feel like I'll definitely get into it. And, yeah, another thing is, I was just like, this is sick. So, if I start it and I get annoyed, like, I'm just going to have to start all over again, because I'll definitely forget. Now, the next book, so this is hilarious. So the next book is a book that has been on the DNF list for ages. I started this, The Dream Runners by Shveta Thakar. I don't know if I've pronounced that right. Please forgive me. But I started this ages ago. Not ages ago, I believe it was 2023. And the book was good. But the thing is, one thing I will say is that the world building was good. But there were so many intricate details in the first few pages. And I was just like, the heck is going on? And then so I sat there and I was just like, basically, these people are dream runners. So they can go into people's dreams and they live off of dreams. But then there's a whole sect of people who, at one point in their dream running, they kind of lose themselves because, and guys, there's a lot going on in this book. And so I was reading it, and then there was a wedding happening to, oh, guys, there's a lot. Because I'm like, where does the secret society lie? Are you guys in the sky? Like, what the heck is going on? Like, they're like timekeepers, but they're dream keepers, because they keep, like, the sanity of the world going, because, your dreams are very, very important. And so they kind of collect dreams, and in their world, they sell dreams, and people, like, live off. They're just like, oh my goodness, what dream do you have? It's kind of like a lucrative thing. But see, I was just sat there like, I don't know what's going on. Not at all. Like, not at all. Like, not one bit. So even though I made it to like 30% in this book, I just know I'm gonna have to start over. I don't, because it was already confusing when I started. The thing is, it wasn't poorly written. Like, I understood it while I was reading it, but I was just like, there were details that I have to pay attention. And so because it's been so long since I've touched it, I already know if I start this book from the point which I left off, I will end it more confused than I began. So I'm just gonna start it over. It's one of the books that I because I remember really, really enjoying this book, and it was my mood that threw me off. And I paused it for a bit, but then the 1 week pause became a 1 month pause, became a 2 month pause, and then it just dragged on. And I'm just like, no, I really want to finish this book to kind of see, because I have some suspicions about some things in this universe that I want confirmed. Okay. And the thing is, one thing about this book is the story was building to one climax, yeah? And I want to see what that climax was. Like, where are we going? Where are we going? Like, what is going to be the breaking point of some of these characters? What's going to be the final clash? I want to know, because, yeah, we got to know. And so, I don't think it's like top of my list, because I'm excited to continue, but I'm upset that I have to start from the beginning, and I'm kind of dreading that fact. And so, yeah, I'm kind of just like, it's probably going to be later down the line. And the very, very last book I have set out for me to read, that I'm currently reading, is Gentle and Lonely by Dane Ortlund. Now, even from my last video, you guys can see that along with my faith, I make it a point to edify my spirit by reading other books around my faith to help me. And last month was obviously a book by A.W. Tozer's book. But then this book was one, it was gifted to me. But when this book came out and everyone was reading it, everyone was just recommending it. They were just throwing it out there. They're just, oh my god, it was so good, it was so good, it was so good. And I was just like, okay, I'll get it eventually, I'll read it eventually. And this was gifted to me, I think in 2023 as well, or like early 2024. It's been a minute. But then I finally started reading it this year, and I was just like, I get it. Like, it's so beautiful. I'm only like a few chapters in, but I think why everyone was probably saying that it was amazing, and it is amazing so far, is because it is definitely helping to reshape my relationship with Christ, and not reshape it in terms of like change it, but like give it more definition. Helping me to see the character of Christ in a different light, which will help me to grow closer to him, to know him better, and in turn become more like him. And it's just so beautiful. I've been really enjoying it so far. Like, you finish reading a chapter and you feel close to God, or like you sympathize more, and you're just like, wow, you're so lovely, and I'm so happy to know you more in this way. So I'm really, really happy. I am definitely planning to read this as I go. So honestly, this can be finished before any book. Like, it can be, because basically I'm trying to like read a chapter a day or a chapter every few days. And so, yeah, so this is gonna fall anywhere. I just kept it for last because, it has that caveat that it can really fall anywhere. But yeah, those are the books I'm currently reading. Keep in mind, I've told you guys, I'm trying to get rid of my TBR, but I also have like this habit of starting books and DNFing them until I'm ready. And so there are a lot of books on this, on my shelves. I'm pointing because there are more shelves over there where I've started it and then DNF'd it. And I didn't DNF it because I didn't like it. If I didn't like it, I would have DNF'd it and gotten rid of it. But it's more so like my mood was off. Okay. And so, even though these are the books I'm currently reading, I am technically currently reading other books, as in like I've gotten a few chapters in, or even like halfway in a few books, and I just put a bookmark there and never removed it. If my mood shifts in such a way that I want to pick up that book will now join the currently reading list, because it is technically currently being read. And if a book that I haven't even started yet joins that list, remember guys, a mood reader is never, you can never guess where they're going. So yeah, these are the books I'm currently reading, but other books can be added, and for all we know, some of these books might be removed. We just don't know. Okay, but yeah, these are the books I'm currently reading. I'm really excited. Have you read any of these books? Can you tell me, am I gonna like it? Am I gonna hate it? What are you thinking? Okay. And if anything, what are you currently reading and how many books are you currently reading as well? Are you as bad as me? Are you a mood reader, or are you very, very like, very strategic, very on job? Like, for people who aren't mood readers, I always wonder, how do they feel? How do they get along? But yeah, guys, that's it for today. I will see you guys soon. And hopefully, when I give you guys my end of month reading updates, hopefully a lot of the books that were on this list will have, moved over to the I read it in March list. But no promises. None whatsoever. None. Especially because me and the girls have yet to choose our read for the month of March. And so, yeah, there's definitely going to be another book added. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, it was good speaking to you guys as always. And I'll see you guys very, very soon.